The Calthrine Empire had conquered 47 worlds in 3 galactic cycles. Their death squads were legendary, bioengineered nightmares that could tear through reinforced steel and digest molecular bonds. When they descended on human colony Titan 7, they expected the usual: screaming, chaos, and swift capitulation. They chose dinner time deliberately. Intelligence suggested humans were most vulnerable during their bizarre, ritualized feeding periods. Riley was 7 years old, sitting at the communal dining hall with a plate of meatloaf when the first explosion rattled the windows. She looked up, annoyed, a fork halfway to her mouth. Around her, 300 colonists continued eating. "Ma'am," said Connor, the 10-year-old at the next table, raising his hand politely. "Should we be concerned about the loud noises?" Administrator Chen wiped her mouth with a napkin. "Finish your vegetables first, Connor." The Calthrine Death Squad breached the southern wall with plasma cutters designed to vaporize titanium. 12 7-foot-tall warriors poured through, their mandibles clicking with anticipation, acid dripping from specialized glands. They had orders to make it quick but painful, a message to other human colonies. The lead warrior, Commander Jarketh, surveyed the dining hall. Hundreds of small humans sat at long tables, continuing to consume their food with mechanical precision. None fled. None even stopped chewing. "Attention, primitive creatures," Jarketh's translator boomed. "You have been deemed unworthy of Calthrine protection. Your execution begins." Riley stood up, her chair scraping against the floor. She was maybe 4 feet tall, wearing a dress with cartoon dinosaurs on it. She looked at the towering alien warrior with the expression of someone profoundly disappointed. "We're eating," she said flatly. Jarketh had seen fear. He had seen rage. He had never seen this complete absence of appropriate response. His tactical implant flagged it as shock, but something felt wrong. "Kill them," he ordered. The first warrior lunged at Riley with claws that could shred combat armor. She sidestepped with impossible fluidity, grabbed his arm, and bit down. Her teeth, small, flat, omnivore teeth that looked decorative at best, sank through the warrior's bio-armor like it was tissue paper. The warrior screamed, a sound that echoed through 3 octaves. Riley chewed thoughtfully, then swallowed. "Tastes like chicken," she announced. "Spicy chicken." That's when all hell broke loose. Connor had already grabbed the nearest warrior by the throat, his small fingers puncturing through scales that could deflect laser fire. 300 human colonists rose as one, their movements synchronized without any visible signal. The Calthrine Death Squad suddenly understood why their intelligence had been so sparse on human colony worlds. Not because humans were weak, because no one lived long enough to file complete reports. Jarketh activated his emergency beacon as he watched his elite warriors torn apart by children who treated the massacre like an unexpected dessert course. Riley had climbed onto one warrior's back, methodically working through its spinal column with her teeth while humming something that sounded like a nursery rhyme. Connor grabbed another warrior and, with clinical efficiency, began disassembling it joint by joint. "Ma'am," he called to Administrator Chen, "can we keep the carapaces? They'd make excellent science project materials." "Clean them thoroughly first," Chen replied, still eating her mashed potatoes, "and remember to share with the younger children." Jarketh tried to flee. He made it 3 steps before Riley landed on his shoulders. She was smiling, and somehow that was worse than any battle cry. "You interrupted dinner," she said conversationally, then bit down on his primary neural cluster. The last thing Jarketh transmitted to the Empire before his consciousness ended was a single word: run. 2 hours later, the dining hall was cleaned. The children had returned to their tables, though several were obviously full. Riley had a piece of chitin stuck between her teeth, which Connor helpfully removed with his fork. "I have an announcement," Administrator Chen said, standing at the front of the hall. "The Calthrine Empire sent what they call a death squad to our colony tonight, As you all noticed, they interrupted dinner. This is the 14th species that has made this particular mistake. A collective groan went through the children. I know. We really need to update our scheduling protocols. However, I want you all to write a short essay about tonight's incident. Connor, you'll coordinate collecting the biological samples for the science division. Riley, excellent tactical positioning. Gold star. Riley beamed. On the Calthrine homeworld, 3 days later, the Empire's Strategic Council watched the recovered footage in stunned silence. The Empress, a being who had personally led the conquest of 17 worlds, replayed the segment where Riley casually bit through armor that could withstand antimatter rounds. "What are they?" she whispered. Her intelligence chief, a veteran of 1,000 campaigns, had finally found the buried reports, the ones previous empires had hidden out of shame before their civilizations collapsed. "Humans, Your Majesty, apex persistence predators from a death world. They call their young cubs as a term of endearment. It's inaccurate. Cubs implies vulnerability." He paused, mandibles trembling. "They're more like larvae. Larvae that evolved on a planet so hostile that their children developed the ability to digest virtually any organic or semi-organic matter. And they don't stop eating until they're full." The Empress made a decision that would save her empire. "Send a diplomatic envoy, immediately, with food." "Food, Your Majesty?" "Yes, so they're not hungry when we arrive. And for the love of the void, don't interrupt their dinner time."